Good evening, everyone. Hope everything is coming through proper. Just trying to get set up here. All right. I think, oh shit. Oh, don't fall. Don't feel me. There we go. Setting the mood, trying to get y'all in the mood. Happy 420 Eve to all my potheads out there, cannabis smokers for recreational and therapeutic reason uses of the hola herb. I don't particularly what do you call it? 420 don't carry much significance for me because, I've never partaken of the cannabis. But, that might change in the distant future as I age. I hear that cannabis is very good for sustaining cognitive abilities in old age and also for depression, mood, alertness, and things of that nature as you age. But I also understand that it takes you about 21 to 25 years for your cerebral cortex to fully form. And cannabis has been known to interfere in a less than positive way with the development of the cerebral cortex in immature or developing brains. So, I would say if you must partake in cannabis and it's not for diagnosed under the care of a treatment professional, but for recreational, I would at least tell you to hold back to you 25. For my non-expert. My co-host is here, Deacon Coon, Deacon Skipp, Deacon Josephus, just killing time. Let's get closer. I like that better.
What up, Africa?
Close and intimate. How you doing, brother? How was your week? Can you hear me?
It's been pretty good, man. On school visits for the day job. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you coming through loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, on school visits for the day job. So, yeah, pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. I don't appreciate you flexing on me, taping from outside while I'm in Chicago, stuck in dreary, cold, and rainy weather, while you in that Mississippi tropical sun. Don't appreciate that. But beyond that, I was good up until then. I'm a hater, innovator, hater, spectator. You can't do nothing. Don't want nobody to have what I ain't got. So, you can't come on here showing that you live good if I ain't too in a good situation. You know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know why you choose to live like that, bro.
Because, man, I'm a city dude, man. I like my museums and herbal chai teas and high society, the finer things, theaters and live music, I'm a connoisseur of fine, fresh brewed, freshly ground coffee beans and things that I just don't think I can get in the rural South.
Oh, I thought we were supposed to do for South.
Cosmopolitan. Where you get that from? Nah, I'm revolutionary. I'm socialist. We do for each other. We do collectively.
Okay.
I'm a city dude, man. I can't deal with y'all Southern cats. Y'all too laid back. Y'all too. I know. There's such thing as high strung. Is there such thing as low strung?
I mean, if it is.
Yeah, y'all too low strung down there. I like the high tension. I like the tension and the misery of the big city.
Okay.
I got all them, untamed wilderness. And I told you last time, I like these nasally bespeckled white folks. I take my white folks in wire rim glasses. I don't take white folks in overalls and steel toe boots. I told you I stay up north because we got a better quality of white folks up here. We got a better quality of races. We got sophisticated, articulate races that know how to talk around stuff.
Oh, no, we just with it.
Yeah, y'all racists just come butt naked. So yeah, so if I gotta pick a coast, I got to pick the north, man. I gotta pick I gotta pick the big cities, man. But I got mad respect for you southern cats, because I don't think I can do it. So anyway, can we get to the topic, or you want to tell us anything else before we get into today's show?
No, I'm excited. The only contradiction is that there are no contradictions.
Yeah. Oh, so you watched. You did your homework.
Yeah.
Right on, Deacon. What do I call you, Jiggy? You come on here, Josephus. I put Skipp Coon on everything. I don't know. Are you going by?
Nah, I'm the same person, man. We can change it. We can put Skipp on there. We can do Josephus like that.
I know y'all got multiple names. You again. That's another thing with as y'all don't go by y'all government. Y'all got all these nicknames. You ever heard that Bomanicious joke? Said the entertainer said he went down south and was seeing his old people.
Dude named Delicious.
No, Bomanicious. He was like, hey, he's like, I don't understand how Southern people talk. So I saw an old friend and he introduced me to this guy named Bomanicious. And he was like, hey, Bomanicious. He said, just call me Bomanicious. Call me Bomanicious. So he was at a cookout and he said, yo, is Bomanicious coming to the cookout? And they said, who the hell is Bomanicious? And he was like, a guy you introduced me to. And he's like, that dude's name is AJ. He said, call me by my initials. So y'all talk slow, but y'all mush words together. I don't get it. And my family worked too damn hard to get off the southern plantation. My people came up. They didn't even do the Great Migration. My people came up from Louisiana, those French Southern Creole Southern plantation, went from the west, the East Coast, the Carolinas to Louisiana plantation, and came up north to Oklahoma with the Exodusters, and then worked their way all the way up to Kansas, and then made their way all the way up to New York and Chicago. So if I move back down south, am I not losing ground? Am I not betraying my people's legacy? Because I expect my grandkids will be in Canada and my great-grandkids will live in the North Pole. Because my peoples, the Bowies, the Jeffersons, the Bradleys, we working our way all the way north until we just
man, it's one thing that I don't think we talk about enough are the cultural differences in African folk. Cause y'all just different. Like y'all just super different. And that really
I was in Harlem hanging out with my Nigerian family. And Africa has the most wide-ranging cultural diversity. And we don't even have to talk about, we can talk about, there's more genetic diversity on the African continent than all the rest of the planet, all the rest of the planet combined. So Black people, even though we have so many overlaps and so many intersections, we also have so many divergences. We're the prototype, we're the blueprint. So I think that cultural diversity and adaptation has not only allowed us to survive atrocities, but it's also allowed us to make such great contributions to the human family. Anyway,
indeed.
So I see the diversity and the wide ranging cultures, and everywhere I go, I find Black people, I find home. So it's still all good, even down south. Even though that dude punched me in the face last time I was in Tennessee. No, actually, last time I was in Tennessee, I didn't get punched in the face. But the one time before the last time I was in Tennessee, got punched in the face. But other than that, everywhere I go, East, West, Midwest, none of the above. I was in freaking Italy hanging out with Cameroonians and shit.
Hey, man.
Trying to tell them to quit eating all that fish and get off the swine.
Man, there is something about being Black in a place
Oh,
with other black people that ain't from that place. It's just beautiful,
yeah,
man. Like I just love black people, man. Like we are just so beautiful. It's just home whenever I'm around it. So yeah.
yeah.
Anyhow, but yeah, let's get to the show, man.
Let's get to the
Part of my
show.
target.
Welcome everybody
Yeah.
to the Rational Radicals. This is like our fourth or fifth. We brand new at this. We new to this, but we true to this. Shout out to Black Power Media. I didn't put the thing on the thing. Shout out to our Black Power Media family. Shout out to our revolutionary Pan-African global family. Today's show is called Black People, the Freest People in America, question mark. And I wanted to discuss this because, I've been having some ongoing discussions abroad about, well, let's just get into it and then we can, because I don't want to get out ahead of myself. But before we discuss this, I want to play where I got the quote, Black people, the freest people in America, which is the late, great Bobby, absolutely right. His government name is Dr. Bobby E. Wright, but I'm going to go ahead and change his name to Dr. Absolutely Right, because Bobby A. Wright, because he's so on point. Not that I agree with everything he says. In fact, as with everybody, and the love is there. I consider myself a person who has benefited greatly from Dr. Wright's scholarship and happy to be in his hometown. But I don't agree with everything he says. But on this particular point that we're going to discuss and then open up for Q&A, I'm going to rock with him on this. What's up?
His hometown?
Yeah, Bobby Wright. Well, he's from the South, like every other,
Okay. I'm just saying, like, he a Southern. He a proud Southern. Okay, he just worked in Chicago. But okay,
yes.
I wanted to make sure we got that together.
I'm sorry? Oh, hold on. Hold on a second. Yeah. Yes. Let me just pull that up. Come on. Camera on? Sorry about that. Yeah, had somebody, my wife came in. She said she don't want to be on camera. She too cute to be on camera. Anyway, sorry about that. Let's go on. Yeah, Dr. Bobby Wright, who was born and raised in the South, but educated and cultivated in the North.
You didn't watch all
here
go ahead.
In Chicago, we got the Dr. Bobby E. Wright Mental Health Service Center. So we got a whole facility named after him in Chicago. So until the South or where is he, Mississippi backwoods somewhere, until y'all erect something in his name, we gonna claim him. I can't even say we like I'm from Chicago. See, false claiming. I know y'all don't like that. Y'all hood cats don't like people to claim false claims. So let me stop. Anyway, we're going to go to this clip from Dr. Bobby E. Wright. And right after that, I want to play another individual that some people say is an icon. I call him an Coon, but an icon of Black community that I think embodies what Dr. Bobby E. Wright. So we got something from our ancestors, and then we got something from a contemporary artist who I think embodies this. So if you're ready, we can go to the thing on the thing. This is Dr. Bobby E. Wright. Let me silence the music because the audio is not that good. Again, this is 1980. You'll see people smoking, and the audio and the video isn't that good. So listen closely, and then we'll begin the discussion after we listen. This is Dr. Bobby E. Wright on Black people being the freest people in America. Y'all say y'all can't hear it. Can you guys hear the video?
I definitely couldn't hear it.
You couldn't? God damn it. Okay, let's find out what happened. Hold on, let me come back up. Share. Let's see. Screen. Select. Website notification. Share. Allow. Let's see if you can hear it now. Let me know.
Nope.
You still don't hear it? God damn it. Damn. Well, I'm not sure what happened and why you can't hear. Let's go to audio. There's always something, boy. Always something. I went to see Shayoon, and Shayoon said it ain't a. he stole my line where I say it ain't a Bro Diallo show without technical difficulties. Anyway, I might just have to tell y'all what he said. Let me. I don't know. You didn't hear any of that, Skipp? You didn't hear any of that? I don't know. I had it all queued up. Play some music and we come back. I don't know. I don't know what I did. I tried to. Anyway, I'm not sure. Let me try this other clip, right? Let me try this other clip. Y'all tell me if y'all hear this one. I want to thank me. I thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank Okay. I guess y'all gonna have to take my word for it, cause I'm not sure what I did wrong. I changed the audio settings and all that. Virtual recording. Yeah. Oh wait, what's that? Anyway, sorry. Anyway, not sure what's going on. So let's just move on. You know, we gonna press through these issues. I checked all the volumes and my computer volume, but like someone suggested that I download the videos and play them myself, which I will try that in the future because I'll just drop the link and then y'all gonna all go play it. So I'll drop the link. Let's see, 11. Probably because my headphones plugged in. Why would that do anything? All right, I just dropped the link in the comments. Y'all can watch that. Your leisure. Anyway, let's move on. I didn't lost Skipp Coon. Man, everything's falling apart. Ouch. That hurt. All right, appreciate you, Geechee. Oh, Skipp is back. I lost Skipp, but anyway, I'll just explain to you what Dr. Bobby E. Wright said, since you didn't hear. In that section of that, hour and a half lecture, he wasn't even really talking. He kind of went on a tangent, and he said that Black people are the freest people in America in one respect. And he said that Black people are freer than any other population in the respect that as a Black individual, you can take any stance, any position, or any action against the Black race, and the Black race cannot and will not sanction you. He said that no other group that he has identified, and he specifically referred to Italian, Jews, Irish, and other white ethnic groups as a comparison, to say that those groups have internal mechanisms for punishing members of their own group who do not hold to whatever solidarity, standards, traditions, views that the community has decided are important enough or reflective of the best interest or goals or collective goals of that people. So he was basically saying that Black people are free from any restrictions, limitations, or demands coming from their own race. And therefore, most of the demands, the standards, the goals, the ambitions, the values of the Black race in the United States are externally imposed by industries, by institutions, or by communities and cultures that are outside our community and most often hostile to our community. So that's what I wanted to discuss. I hope we can get Skipp Coon back here. Whenever you're ready, you can rejoin. I'll put you in. Not sure how much of that you heard. You got a lot of background noise.
Yeah, sitting outside, man. Those old guys on the motorcycles.
Oh, hello? Now you froze. Anyway, brother's gonna work it out. But while he's frozen, so that's the position. And then followed by that, I played a video of Snoop Dogg when he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Oh, and in that same presentation where Bobby E. Wright said that Black people are the freest people in America in that respect, he also said that individualism is a big problem, is a big obstacle for Black people. And I don't even call it individualism, because it's not that the Black people are being individualistic. A lot of times they're just integrating or assimilating into other groups. So they're not necessarily being an individual. You're not an individual when you say, oh, I love Jordans, as if that's your choice, as if there hasn't been a multi-billion-dollar marketing campaign over decades to cultivate in your mind the illusion that Jordans represent anything. Or I'm a Muslim. You didn't individually choose to be a Muslim. There hasn't been centuries of campaigns to spread the Islamic faith. So even when I'm anti-individualism, but even when people claim to be individuals or to be doing their own thing, a lot of times they're not doing their own thing. That too is an illusion. Individualism is an illusion. So anyway, that's another thing. But then after that, I played Snoop Dogg's acceptance speech at his Hollywood Walk of Fame. And he said, I want to thank me. I want to praise me. It was all me, and I give because I'm a bad motherfucker. Now, of course, I didn't watch Snoop Dogg at his acceptance speech, but I was seeing Black people all over the internet all over the socials, retweet this and reshare this, and celebrating the fact that Snoop Dogg is doing self-appreciation or self-acknowledgement or uplifting himself and talking all this bullshit nonsense. It's basically individualism. A man who himself is an industry unto himself is pretending like he is responsible for everything good that he deems good in his life, and he's the only person worthy of appreciation and thanking. And I think in a healthy society, any individual who is literally a byproduct of the work and sacrifices of generations that could come and say, I thank me, most people would be like, wow, what an asshole. But Snoop doing that and being such a presence in the Black community and Black culture for so long, the fact that the masses of Black people that I saw celebrated this and tried to rationalize this as a healthy attitude or an appropriate position to take really disturbed me. So that's where I am in saying, so at least we understand where Bobby E. Wright's rationale for saying Black people are the freest Black people in that respect. Of course, we ain't free. We are under genocidal oppression. But he said we are the freest people in America in that respect. And he was specifically referring to Black people who reside within the United States, because I also observed, like I just said, I was in the Harlem hanging with my Nigerian family, and they don't get down like that by and large. And in other communities around the African diaspora. So anyway, that's where we are. So you care to chime in? So you got in. See how hateration, man. Hateration. You didn't have to run in the house.
I heard. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I heard a lot of what you said, and what I don't know if you heard me before, but I was very familiar with that video from Dr. Bobby Wright. And the statement that, Black folk are free because the contradiction is that we have no contradiction. I think the Snoop Dogg example is very bad, though, right? I think I agree with the premise that you're raising, but I don't think that the Snoop example is a good one. Did you see the whole speech?
No, just that excerpt.
Yeah. So what he started off doing was thanking everybody else. He thanked his mom, he thanked God, he thanked, all the people that helped him at the record label. And then near the middle, close to the end of it, he said, and I want to thank myself. And he's talked about that before, where he talks about, all those people did all of those things. I think that's a very important thing to add, right? Like, we all talk about our willingness to do things to help our community, but ultimately all of the work that you do to grow food doesn't work if you don't go to the garden. And acknowledging the role that we as individuals play in our successes and failures is important. The other piece that I think is really interesting about, like that premise of the only contradiction is there is no contradiction, is that I find it very, very telling when even those of us that can make statements and take stands won't do it. And it just shows how lacking we are in political understanding and political education of our real situation, right? Like a very good example is Boosie. Boosie is one of the few self-made Black titans of the entertainment industry.
The badass?
Boosie can say, Boosie badass can say whatever he damn well please. Is made up of people who are largely forgotten about, excluded, and not cared about by anybody else. Okay. Like, Boosie can get on here. Boosie can get on here and be like, okay, I give you a very good example of how free Boosie is. Boosie was wearing a Kappa Alpha Psi t-shirt. Do you know this? Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, I remember that bullshit.
All right. So imagine the way that Black Greeks act at any opportunity they have to show out about them cultures. They were showing Boosie videos of people strolling and trying to get Boosie to become honorary. His audience, don't nobody care nothing about them. And Boosie don't have no connection to none of the elite Black institutions. There is a cast of Black folk that Boosie just speaks to for. He can say anything that he wants to politically and chooses to engage in homophobia, doesn't really support a political candidate, could marshal those folks in any direction that he chooses, and they will follow along. Does it happen? Because he isn't engaged. And part of the reason that he does a good job of engaging.
Hello?
I'm so sorry about this internet connection deal. I don't know hearing what y'all not hearing.
Man, go out there and give the hamster on the wheel running the Southern internet some extra seeds, sunflower seeds. Let me stop making Southern jokes. Anyway, good. I'm glad he's gone because I got to speak to some of the things he said. First of all, that thing with Snoop Dogg thanking his mama and thanking everybody else before he went into that, I want to thank me. I think that drives home my point even more about the Black collective, because whenever I am talking about a celebrity, I don't care about celebrities. I see them as class enemies. Whenever only thing that can bring a celebrity on my radar is if my people, my class, the poor and working class Black masses begins, if something resonates with my class and my community, that's when it comes up on my radar, because I don't follow these people independently. So I think the Snoop Dogg statement reinforces the point about Black people and our refusal to sanction, because I promise you, and I'm being completely honest, I've seen that I want to thank me shit shared no less than 150 to 300 times. It was everywhere. And I didn't see one person share the component where he was thanking the other people responsible for him. I've only saw Black people sharing and praising the individualistic component. So no matter what he said in that overall speech, it's the part about me, myself, and I that resonated with most people in the internet, and I would say beyond the internet, because I've seen that shared, I've seen it on TikTok, I've seen it across Twitter. So it seems that I tell you again, go and find me someone who shared that speech, that gave attention, acknowledgement, praise for the part where you said he thanked his mama and them. Show me. Because every single time I saw that shit in that ugly ass Gucci sweater, ugly as hell, every single time I seen that share, the only part I ever saw was I want to thank me. And then you just go out and do a non-scientific survey to say, hey, y'all remember that speech? What'd he say there? So I think that drives home my point more so. About individualism and how the Western individualism has contaminated our community. As far as Boosie, oh man, I disagree with you on Boosie. I appreciate your disagreement on the Snoop thing, but I'm gonna have to disagree with you on Boosie. I think Boosie is not powerful. I don't think Boosie has the ability to move anybody anywhere. To me, what I see Boosie engaged in is capitalizing on the dysfunction that already exists in the community. and the mythologies around being self-made. Because I remember his song about coming from the bottom. I remember his positions on Black Lives Matter. I remember Boosie asserting that the hood is the worst place in the world. Boosie made statements saying that when somebody's trying to rob him or trying to do him harm, it ain't a white man. He even went so far as says when he was engaging with the police are better than the Black community. And the reason that the police are so brutal and vicious with Black people is because we engage in so much criminal activity. Every single position that I've ever heard Boosie publicly articulate, number one, I know did not originate from him. I know did not originate from a place of intelligent analysis, critique, study, or even common goddamn sense. Everything that spews from Boosie's dumbass mouth, everything that he has observed with them two black eyes has been regressive, reactionary, and anti-Black. And I don't believe that if Boosie tomorrow came across African scholarship, developed African consciousness, and began to articulate a new message, he would immediately lose his audience. I don't think people would follow Boosie to the promised land. Like a lot of these other artists that try to go woke, that y'all believe that we falsely say are self-made, Waka Flocka, when he went vegan and started trying to say he was never going to wear jewelry anymore and all that shit, and all these other indie artists that go against the mass indoctrination of hypermaterialism. Boosie with all them diamonds, the blood diamonds and gold, and he's walking around buying every item that the white man put on sale, every overpriced, low quality item. And so the fact that I just have to quote Del Jones, we lose so much, we don't even know what a victory looks like. So if you or anybody else, allow me, I'm almost done. I know I'm being a little taking advantage, but I promise you, I'll give you time for a full. That's all right.
Yeah, it's my internet.
I'll just say, we lose so much, we don't know what a victory looks like. Boosie Badass is a living embodiment of powerlessness, of surrender. Boosie is he has named one reactionary right-wing position and idea that he doesn't hold to. That man is not Black power. That man is white surrender. To hear one independent thought, he independent. How come everything that come out of his mouth is right-wing, conservative, reactionary, surface analysis, and anti-Black as fuck? And not the strippers that he got for his, as he's condemning the gay agenda, the strippers he got to paid to molest his child at his child's 13th, 14th birthday? Please find another example. Please stop finding your examples in the trash heap of Black culture.
I think two things, right? I think one is this position that you're taking, one assumes that I agree with Boosie.
No, I know you don't.
Which I don't.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. But this is the thing that I think is missing in your analysis. I don't know how often you are around the people.
As little as possible.
The people I'm around, yeah, exactly. You see, but the people I'm around,
the people, man.
The people I'm around, and when I say the people, I mean the people I'm around.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that they say, and I think it is more of a standard. I think it is more of an illustration of how propagandized we are. Like, of course, I don't think any of those thoughts are original. But I'm in a whole lot of conversations with a whole lot of people that'll tell you it's Black people that do it to me. And these are Black people, like, and this is legitimately what they believe. And when you poke them and prod them, like it gets a little deeper. But it's not a whole lot of thought that goes into these positions that they assume. Like, it's just, this is what it is. And I don't think it's fair. I think it's fair to criticize anyone for adopting a position. But I think it is also very unfair to criticize people for not seeing the hidden hand. Because I don't know how many of us see it. It is not my lived experience. Hold on. It is not my lived experience that people walk into these situations and say, something is afoot. Things are amiss. Like that is not my lived experience. Like people just tend to accept things for the way they are. And nobody asks any real questions. And the made up thing is the thing that people pay more attention to.
Let me tell you this then. I got some even worse news for you. When you talk about the people, the Boosies, the black masses, I just recently have been in rooms with black people who go through 2 or 3 passports every year. They're well-traveled, highly educated. Dr. Negro, Dr. Steppenfetching, Dr. Coon. I've been in rooms with some of the most well-educated, well-traveled, and well-positioned black people. I've worked on political campaigns. I've gone to academic conferences, and the analysis about the black condition and our obligations to one another is worse. So this is not a street versus, Ivy Tower thing. And I just was talking to a black multimillionaire who was asking me, what's wrong with black people? Everybody else got it together. Why can't we get it together? We're our own worst enemy. I was just talking to another black person. Let me say, what you're saying, this is not a rich black, poor black problem. This is. I'm talking about the people. I'm talking about the people, the class enemies, the traitors, the allies. What you're saying is not exclusive to the people we call our people. There's the people in the man on the street, the commoners, the masses, the proletariat, the lumpen, whatever you want to call them. And from the Negro bourgeoisie to the Negro lumpen and every class stratification in between, got the Boosie badass brain disease, got the motherfucking menticide. That's menticide. And menticide is not it is spans our entire race. And it's not something you can educate your way out of. It's not something you can buy your way out of. So I'm just saying we don't have to, as far as Boosie's views.
So listen. So when you say that we can't educate ourselves out of it, and we can't purchase ourselves out of it,
right?
Well, how did Diallo, how did Josephus escape that? Like, how did we arrive at a place that our analysis is not that? And how do we replicate that for the people? Because as you're saying, I'm talking about barbershop conversations. I'm talking about soccer parents. We paying, a few $100s a month for our kid to just be on the team, not include what we pay for travel. I'm talking about go to HBCUs, go to PWIs, got letters behind their name, drive a fancy car, live in a big house. Like if this is where black people are, and we are in the extreme minority of those black people, like, do we throw all the black people away but us? Like, what? So 2 questions. 1, how do we not end up there? And 2, how do we get more people where we are?
Okay. I got some really bad news for you. That broke my heart. It took me a long time and a lot of disruption in my personal life and in my wife and I's life, where we've put up an immense amount of resources, time, energy, money, our names, sacrificed opportunities. And we learned a very painful lesson that I have to articulate to every committed liberationist and revolutionist like yourself. You cannot free slaves. You can't free slaves. I'm really shocked that it took me so long to accept this lesson. In reading from Denmark Vesey, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and many of our ancestors that wrote this and pretty much articulate this. Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed many more Africans if they only realized they were enslaved. So our job is not to free anyone. Our job is to provide our companionship, our cooperation, and to pool our resources with those who decide to get free. Being free, education, resources, solidarity are all a byproduct of making the basic fundamental decision to say, I'm not going to live as a slave. I am going to fight for liberation. I am going to organize, unite, and fight for liberation. Now, once someone makes that decision that cannot be forced, there are Black people right now. Take, for instance, Barack Obama. There is no Black man on the face of this earth that understands more intimately what is happening in the world in terms of the U.S. intelligence agencies, in terms of the U.S. military agenda, in terms of the resources, in terms of climate disruption. There is no man better educated about the atrocities and horrendous things that the government is doing currently and intends to do in the near and distant future. So if education and knowledge would awaken people, Obama would be the most awakened, woke Black man in the world. Same thing with Colin Powell. Same thing with Clarence Thomas. I wish, as much as I love to read and learn and share and articulate and discourse and debate, I wish education was the solution. As a lifelong student myself, married to an academic and a professor, I wish education was the solution. Our job is to say, hey, to let it be known, I am conscious, I am committed, and I offer unity to those who are conscious and committed. And then we articulate, we pronounce, we promote, we propagandize and propagate the message. And some people will take that message and embrace it and make that fundamental change. Some people will use that information to enrich themselves, like Dr. Umar and Tariq and the other pimps and hustlers. Other people will reject it and join our enemies. But consciousness, that's one thing that we have to make sure that every Black person that wants, that has the potential, that has the desire for consciousness, has the message, has the resources, and has the connection, the allyship. But that first initial step is something that every African is going to have to determine, that you can't force, you can't teach, you can't even inspire them. So that's the thing. So I know a lot of Africans. What's unique about me is I was presented with several options and I chose them. And I have some best friends, brothers that I love to this day, that were presented with the same options in the same conditions, with the same risk and same opportunities that I was presented with. And they were like, fuck that. I don't want no parts of it. Fuck that shit. You know, when Malcolm X was locked up, he was locked up with thousands of other Black men. And he made a choice, while others made different choices.
You know, what you were saying reminded me of Matthew 13, the parable of the sower. And yeah, that's depressing, but it frees you, right? Like, it frees you. Because, you know, like I've said for a long time, everybody ain't going, right? Like, everybody not going to make the decisions that I'm going to make. Everybody not going to do the things. Some people just committed to this system. And I always thought it was an issue of a lack of a radical imagination. And what I heard from you and what you just said was, no, they just think this way work better for them. And it's just a fundamental difference at that point, that there's nothing I could do.
They don't think that, but I think that's given. Well, but let's go back to Bobby E. Wright, who kind of laid the foundation for tonight's discussion, because there is a caveat to that. There is a caveat to that. Even though we can't wake anybody up and we can't free slaves, there are things we can do to create a greater likelihood or greater potential that any individual African will choose to ally with the liberation struggle as opposed to go against the Black liberation. Dr. Bobby E. Wright said, behavior is created and maintained by its consequences. And if you behavior and actions, you have a greater potential that their thought and their rationale will begin to evolve in conjunction. So even though you cannot control someone's thinking or that's what people, they control in our minds. They don't control our minds. They control our environment and they dictate how we navigate our environment. And then we voluntarily to ourselves change our minds and our thinking. So we as a community, way too much evidence, we incentivize treason and betrayal. We disincentivize loyalty and revolution. How do we do that? By not having a structured protocol for rewarding and supporting those who hold loyalty and solidarity with the people, and by giving acknowledgement, loyalty, and solidarities to active traitors, and having not the capacity, but not even having the desire to hold traitors and treasonous actions to account. Now I lost Skipp Coon, so I'm gonna just go into the brother. He's having some internet issues. Oh, here he is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that. I don't know if you heard that. Oh, great. So that in a way that even though we cannot free slaves, we can burn down plantations. We can incentivize appropriate action and disincentivize inappropriate action by how we engage with each other personally, intimately, and communally and culturally. So we can create a revolutionary culture that will increase the potential, increase the likelihood that people will make the decision to embrace and support the revolution. But right now, the Black culture, the Black community, from the lumpen to the elite, is doing just the opposite. We are disincentivizing racial loyalty, racial solidarity, and revolutionary consciousness. We are disincentivizing it as opposed to incentivizing it. And once you and again, you understand that if you are directed in a certain environment, if you come up in a certain environment and
That's
your options, exactly.
The boy in the soul of Black folk, some sediment naturally floats, some naturally sinks, but the vast majority of sediment does what the current dictates.
Exactly. So yeah, I do think that it is the obligation of the Pan-Africanist and the duty of the revolutionary to make revolution and Pan-African solidarity and racial unity the most viable option, the most fulfilling and meaningful option. And we do that by intensifying our work, by creating protocols and eventually building institutions around our ideology. And that's and a lot of y'all conscious people are way too kind to our enemies, too receptive to our enemies, too sympathetic to the goddamn enemies. That's one of the reasons why we have so few revolutionaries.
I don't disagree with that. I also think it's because the premise, I've said the thing that you said before. Like I've said, everybody not going, right? But recognizing that, there's something more that I could do to encourage them to come, right? But hearing you kind of lay it out in the way that you laid it out is like, oh, well, I have to create the environment that gives them a place to go after they've left. So basically, we had to create a maroon colony. Like there's a place you can go. You can come over here once you've done the work to leave, right? You can be invited in. I also think though that in your criticism of Boosie, like you made me see something differently, where before I would say he speaks to those folks in a way that we don't, right? But I think there's something else afoot. I think it is more so that his speech is elevated in those communities because it reinforces whatever the status quo is. So it's a version of the filter bubble where people are kind of looking for things that they agree with and not looking to be, provoked to think differently. So yeah.
People want you to confirm their delusions. I have people beg me to confirm their delusions all the time. And people tell me all the time, yo, bro, Diallo, you'd have a wider reach. You'd be more popular if you stop dissing people's religion, if you stop dissing sports and things that the people like. And a lot of people who want to be leaders, what they do is take advantage of our I try to challenge and deconstruct Black indoctrination. But most of the Black leaders and public Black figures, they exploit the indoctrination.
Very true.
Which is not is basically trying to replace the white man on the hierarchy, not to destroy the hierarchy unto itself. So you'll find even the most radical anti-white leaders just go off and replace some replica of white shit. Elijah Muhammad, Dr. Umar Tariq. Reparations went from being about liberation of African people and challenges to the ongoing atrocities of colonization and imperialism and capitalism to being a payday, a payoff, a ransom paid out to our so that we can better integrate into the capitalism as opposed to challenge and to delegitimize capitalism.
Cut the check.
Right, which is obscene. Which is obscene. So I also want to talk about in this Black people being the freest people, because people always tell me, even though I never ever recall advocating for this shit, but people say when I begin to criticize the leading Blacks, and when I say leading Blacks, I think that's more appropriate than Black leaders, because they're the Black people up front. But true leaders come with an independent agenda. Any Black person that's articulating an alien agenda and advancing other people's interests disguised as our own is not a Black leader. They're tying us to a white locomotive. The Black train is hitched to a white locomotive. So anyway, whenever I begin to criticize a leading Black, I often get people attack me and say they don't have to give their money to us. And why we always begging them for their money and they don't owe us nothing. Dave Chappelle with his 80, he don't owe us nothing. LeBron James don't have to do this. And we need to do this. And we have to somehow make ourselves worthy of the attention and input of the Black elites who have the money, who have the resources, who have the influence to make rapid change and make fundamental transformations of our material conditions. That we somehow have to convince them or demonstrate to our elites that we are both worthy and deserving of what they give us. This is another illusion or Black freedom myth that we have. With believing that.
Totally agree.
Right.
Totally agree. I think the other thing though is that people say stuff like that because more than anything they want to escape Blackness. Like whatever it is that Black people do, I will do the opposite so that I can create distance between myself and Blackness. And when they talk about, oh, these celebrities don't owe us anything, that's just code for when I get mine, I ain't giving y'all niggas nothing either.
Right. Exactly.
And I think what's most interesting about that is just the overall hopefulness that their hard work is going to get them something other than what they've gotten. And I've never really understood that. I've never really understood. I've never thought that I was so special. Aside in the music space, I thought that I was talented enough, to earn a living making music. But I also understood that the living that I would earn will pale in comparison to what folks will earn supporting the system. I've always thought that if I could make more than a teacher did rapping, I won. And I think people really do believe that they're going to save and pinch pennies to get to their millionaire status and not have to deal with the consequences that the state places on being black. And I don't know where that comes from because I've never seen anybody do it.
I agree, but I wish you would rap more though, because there ain't too many MCs out there I can listen to. And then all the MCs I take a liking to, y'all be finding other shit to do. Get on your job. Anyway,
hey, bro.
There's another concept that I think that we've allowed to fall by the wayside, and that is extremely important, that I think we've lost, and that's what I've come to call racial esteem. In the concept of worthiness, I think Black people have what I call low racial esteem. And again, racial esteem is basically the same thing as self-esteem. How highly do we view our people? And racial esteem will dictate what a people will allow to be done to them and what a people will allow themselves to do. And I think racial esteem has been supplanted and eroded by again, consumerism and materialism. And the fact that I see so many Black people that not only say the celebrities don't owe us nothing, they allow so many Black people in the public eye to absolutely and total, because when people have low racial esteem, they pretty much conduct themselves as a community, as a person with low self-esteem conducts themselves as an individual. And what stands out most, the first thing you think about when you encounter a person of low self-esteem is they let people do them any kind of way. They let people disrespect them. They let the people closest to them, most intimate to them, treat them badly. And not only do they think that they deserve that poor treatment, they don't feel that they are worthy or even capable of correcting, challenging, or punishing that behavior. So we have people that can go around, which has happened so many times, disrespect us as a people, disrespect us as a culture, disrespect our ancestors, and even disrespect our descendants who aren't born yet, but continue to thrive and have a strong Black support. And then we'll watch that same individual disrespect another population, another race, another community, another culture, another demographic. And that demographic rallies together to sanction, punish, subvert, undermine that individual. And then Black people, we circle back and say, well, when they dissed us, nothing happened. When they were dissing Black women, nothing happened. When they were dissing the Black community, when they said something about our ancestors, nothing happened. But they ran afoul of the Jews. They ran afoul of the gays or the LGBT. They ran afoul of the Christian conservatives. And all of a sudden, they said something that offended the Irish community. They used an Irish slur or an Italian slur. And all of a sudden, all these consequences rain down on them. And Black people as a collective are literally confused as to why they could diss this obscure group and face consequences when they made a whole career disrespecting our group without any consequences. That's the result of low racial esteem.
And I think what's really interesting about the low racial esteem thing is because we are so hyper-focused on what other folks think about us. You can't do any number of things because, that is why white people are racist, right? like the fact that my woman wears a bonnet outside or pajamas into a school building is why they close schools in Black communities, right? I don't understand the limitations placed on the least of us and the free range given to the people that have the most in our communities. It's a very strange phenomenon.
I understand it.
Okay. What is
All right. Black people, we don't have a true elite. We misunderstand the concept of elites and elitism. I don't deny the existence of elite individuals. I can't rap like you. Because if I could, man, I'd be, private jet popping bottles with models in Dubai. I wouldn't be doing, if I could rap, I don't understand why you don't take your talent, as you believe God gave you, and do what you know how to do. But anyway, I can't chase balls like Jordan. There are people with skills, talents, abilities that are above us, that are natural, genetic. And there are other people who don't necessarily have natural ability, but have given more time to shit that I don't want to give to it, like chess. I enjoy chess as a recreational outlet. But I got some homeboys that read chess books, play chess online, and play chess against the computer on hard mode. And so elites exist. And so Black people, because we have so many talented athletes, performers, so many talented bureaucrats, there are some managers and Black managers, and I know several elite institutions, that when you look behind the curtain, it's little Black women scurrying around, holding that whole shit together. They even made that movie Hidden Figures, which I was offended by because they wasn't hiding the figures. The numbers were up front. They were hiding Black people. They should have called it Hidden Niggers because that's what they were really doing. They were hiding the Black people. They weren't hiding the numbers. But I digress. So anyway, we think that we have an overall elite, right? And what the elite do, as Nas said, the best clash at the top. So Black people, we don't have an African elite or a Black elite, meaning that what the elites do within the race, depending on the group, is they establish the agenda, they establish the priorities, and they establish the direction for the masses. Now the masses can revolt against that, or the masses can coordinate with that, or the masses can split in half and half go with this elite and half go with that elite. But what Black people do, what the so-called Black elite do, is they don't develop an independent agenda, independent priorities, independent direction and interest. The only thing the Black elite does, whether that is some rich Black entertainer in the United States or some dignitary or diplomat from Africa or a prime minister from the Caribbean, is they simply find an existing white agenda and graft themselves to it. And if they really want to get messy and say, well, I don't want to follow the white man because he doesn't pay as well as he used to, then they graft themselves onto the Arab or Islamic elite, or the Chinese Communist Party elite. So because Black people don't have a true elite, but we look up at these people, we look up at these Jordans, these people with I call consumption capacity. The only difference between Dr. Dre and me is consumption capacity. And because we don't have an elite, we just seeing Black people follow these agendas. And that's when we get confused about the power dynamic. And we get confused that we can get a president, we can get a CEO, we can get the heavyweight champ of the world, we can get the greatest scholars in the world, but none of that ever translates into Black power or Black empowerment, because no matter what they do, they're still grafted on and they refuse. The elites wage war against the other elites. Even though the elites coordinate and work together to maintain their elite status, they also do very vicious, bloody battles internally as well. I have not found an instance where the Black elites, can you imagine? let me just say this, and I'll give you a chance to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if Bill Gates has several agendas, right? Bill Gates has this world view and this philosophy that the world can be run like a computer simulation. So everything from agriculture to food production to education. So Bill Gates is putting money into education, charter schools. He's putting money into agriculture and processing and refinement. He's putting his money because he has a vision of how the world should operate. And now he has the resources to make that vision the reality. Power is the ability to define reality and then have it act in a desired manner. Can you imagine if Bill Gates held a press conference tomorrow and says, I had this plan of buying up this agricultural land, of space exploration, of redefining industry and production and work, but I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to withdraw my resources because the rednecks in Appalachia, the poor whites in Appalachia, the poor white people in rural America ain't doing what they supposed to do. So because the poor whites won't get their shit together, I'm not going to be down with the white race no more. Because you have black elites that come out and say, well, I was going to build a school, Oprah Winfrey. I was going to build a school, but poor black people don't know how to act. I can't do nothing for my people because my people don't know how to conduct themselves. My people just want to party and my women are twerking. Or like you said, they wearing bonnets to the grocery store. Therefore, me with all my power, education, and resources, ain't nothing I can do for these colored folks. The black elite are the only population of wealthy, established, powered, lettered people. And I've told black elites this. I've told wealthy, well-positioned black people that come to me and say, what's wrong with black people? And I tell them every time, the black masses, we do our job. We do exactly what the masses are supposed to do. The only segment of the black community that's truly not doing what it's supposed to do, what it's defined to do under white hegemony and capitalism are the black elites. They're the only people. The black working class is the primo working class. The black poor, the black lumpen is on its job. They're doing exactly what the apolitical class is supposed to do. Every black level of existence under this current system is doing exactly what it's supposed to do and often outperforming its non-black counterparts. The black working class, the black lower middle class, the black poor and dejected, the black gangsters, everybody on their job. The only population that's fucking shit up, that's the most fucked up, are the black elites. The black political class, the black lettered academic class, and the black influencer entertainment class. They're the only ones that are active.
So is that because the carrot is controlled by other folk? Like the carrot isn't we want to see black folk do better. The carrot is I want to increase my consumption capacity. And there is no increase in consumption capacity for talking big and encouraging black folk. Like that don't give me nothing. What gives me some is being subservient to whiteness.
Which means you're not elite. Remember, and this, as much as you hate this system, in order to transform reality, you first, in order to cure a disease, you have to properly diagnose a disease. You have to accept that there is a disease pathological process and you have to properly diagnose it, meaning you have to understand what causes it, how it functions, and how it proliferates through your body. So in order to fight and defeat white hegemony, imperialism, and capitalism, we first have to acknowledge that it is. A lot of black people is like, no, I'm free. I don't want to acknowledge it. And that's how I get free from it by ignoring it. And if you ignore capitalism and white hegemony as a solution, it's the same as ignoring a metastatic tumor in your brain in order to cure that tumor. So in this system, the elites that must own and control the means of production. And so if you are a consumer, then you can't truly define yourself as an elite or a capitalist or whatever. It used to, we were ruled by monarchs or ruled by corporatists, whatever the current rulership or current dominant group in this system is. There's rules, there's characteristics that they have. And the Black elite do not follow or adhere to those characteristics. So yes, many of them are afraid. But even if an elite group or if a group gets displaced from power, then their goal is not to find a more comfortable position outside of power, but to retake power. That should be the goal. Not to buy, Korea came under conquest. Mm-hmm. And now they manufacture their own cars. And I'm not saying we should mimic these people, because to me that's low level. But I'm saying our elites, we don't have elites. And the problem is, even though we as a race do not have elites, we still treat a segment of our population as though they are elites. And they're unworthy of our celebration. They are unworthy of our support. They are unworthy of our solidarity. Yes.
Because of proximity to whiteness. Like, we value, by and large, we value proximity to whiteness in ways that I don't think I ever want to understand. So as the woman's mother says, thank the Lord I don't, right? Like, thank God I don't understand the value of being close to whiteness. Yeah.
Well,
I think you make your last point, and then we go to the
Q&A.
Right? Let's get to these questions. There's something I do want to say to you, though, that I've said to you privately. What I appreciate most about our relationship is the way that I can disagree and feel like you hear my perspective, and I definitely hear yours, and there's a new understanding that's reached in that exchange. And I hope more people that are kind of, watching this are kind of willing to have that, in their private lives as well.
Right.
So, like, I just appreciate that.
Yeah, and I hang with you so that when I'm out there disparaging people of faith, I can be like, I don't hate Christians. I have a Christian friend. One of my best friends is a Christian. How can you guys?
What do you mean? I know
some of my best friends are people of faith. Yeah, that's so. I just use you for that. That's why I keep hanging with you, because I can, whenever I'm with it, like, whenever.
But I do seriously though. What you were explaining, like, is really laid out in the parable of the sower in Matthew. So I hope people kind of get into that and see the overlap. But,
all right.
What's up, man? Who got questions? Is there a way that I can see the questions, or is it something that you're doing?
I can put them on the screen. Yeah, I got to make you an admin, But, I was just spent a couple of weeks in New York City. So I didn't do a lot of things I was supposed to do. And I took my computer and whatnot, but I was too busy eating bagels.
Yeah, running around New York. Yeah.
Yeah, I was too busy.
Living your East Coast life. You want to be in New York so bad, bro. Like,
yeah, I was too busy busting freestyles in the cypher, being grimy. I was too busy roaming around with my Timbos on. But anyway, I want to
pay me to live in New York.
What? I lived there for a decade. If I hadn't got gentrified out, if the Pilates instructors hadn't run all the hood cats, all the goons out of town, that's what I say. I don't want to hear nothing from no New York City, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens gangsters. Y'all got displaced by Pilates instructors.
Yeah,
but anyway,
just straight up people exercising and ran y'all off y'all corners.
Yeah, but hell yeah, I was eating every day. Not a day went by I didn't have myself a pumpernickel bagel with vegetable, tofu, cream cheese. Ain't nowhere else. I can't eat bagels nowhere else. So I kind of gorge myself on bagels every time I go to New York. But anyway, I want to say one more thing, because I don't want people to misconstrue, because I spend a lot of times talking about elites and the Black elites. And even though I I consider them class enemies. I can't deny the role that they play. But here's the thing where we don't have to despair the fact that our elites are for shit and not true elites. Because the role of the elites in any culture, in any society, is to sustain the status quo. There has never been an elite revolution. There has never been a top-down revolution or fundamental transformation of society. And that's just not for African people. That also goes for, Europeans. Just look at European transition from monarchical to parliamentary systems. Look from Europeans' transformation from tribes to city-states. Every great grand social or societal transformation or revolution has been from the bottom up. And I don't care if you're going off of, you're a Taraist and going off of African societal, economic and social societal transformation, Du Bois, Taraist, or you go to Marx or conservative, or even you go to Adam Smith. Most people who accurately study says that sustaining systems is generally done by the elites or the skilled of the society, and upending and transforming systems comes from the bottom up. So even though we don't have an elite, does not mean we can't have revolution, because revolution is from the people. And I can assess and criticize the people like we break down the elites, the black elites, but liberation is going to come from the black masses. And the black elites at that time will have to get behind us or get trampled by us. They will have to get behind us or get trampled by us. So, but that's another discussion. But on this idea that black people being the freest people, I agree with Bobby E. Wright. We as an African people, it is our obligation, like the conditions that we find ourselves in oppression, genocide, slavery, colonization, is not our fault. It's not on us. They didn't do this to us because we're black. They did it because they're white. It's not our fault, but it is our responsibility. And so we, in order to create more revolutionaries, to incentivize revolutionaries, and to sustain revolutionaries, we have to acknowledge that we are worthy of loyalty, solidarity, support, and pulling of resources. And we have to begin to conduct ourselves personally, individually, and as a collective in a way that celebrates and sustains those who hold to the unity and interest of black people. And we have to start sanctioning those who betray us. And whether that means withholding your vote from some Negro establishment politician or refusing to buy your kids Jordans and Yeezy shoes, or refusing to stream Boosie's music, whatever way you can individually hold people who disrespect our people, our race to account. You do that, and then you begin to articulate and demonstrate that and get other black people to also join that. Whatever resources available to us, anybody that disrespects us or harms us as a people should feel our wrath to whatever capacity we are capable of. If it's nothing more than getting up and turning off the TV when some Sambo shows up on the TV. Or like I said, with voting for a Green Party or some other third party candidate when the Democratic establishment sells you out again and again. But make a conscious effort to develop a culture of rewards and sanctions, and not just against our enemies, but internal rewards and sanctions. And that's why I'm saying now we're going to open up for the Q&A. You ready for the Q&A?
I'm ready.
Skipp. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, or criticisms, I and Skipp are prepared to hear that. I'm going to post any of the comments on the thing. Don't turn that TV on. Now you're going a bit too far. Now y'all gonna be shuffling. I likes my TV now. I likes my Xbox and my video games. So now I have to backpedal a little bit. I like TV. So I enough respect to people who are disciplined enough not to mess with TV, but I got so few joys and pleasures in my life. Allow me my TV. Do you watch TV, Skipp?
Not terrible. I do like there are some shows I'll watch, but normally it's because the girl put the TV on, or I watch a show with the boys. Like somebody around has to put the television on for me to pay attention to.
No. Well, we do have a rule in this house: no TV.
I watch football though. Like I
see, yeah, you watch. See,
watch football,
and I ain't gonna hold that against you. Pro football.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Football.
NFL.
I will, bro. Let me tell you something. At my peak, like I would go watch junior colleges on Thursday nights, high schools on Friday nights, little kids Saturday morning, college Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and then Sunday I would watch pro. Like that is one thing that I love. Like I still like right now when I'm working and I just need noise, I put on an old football game.
Well, can you do something for me if you're going to violate the NFL boycott? Can you at least do one thing for me?
What's that?
While you're at home in your living room, can you put your tray of chicken wings and chili fries to the side and take a knee during the national anthem in your living room? Can you do that for me?
Bro, I ain't stood for the national anthem since I was in
I didn't say don't stand.
grade.
I didn't know. See, that's something different. See, we got to come up. I didn't say don't stand. I said, can you take a knee? Can you put your fold out tray aside? Can you take off your phone? Can you take off your ball chasing ball cap? Take off your phone. Number one, we're number one hand. Can you take all that off? And during the national anthem in your living room, as an act of solidarity, can you take a knee during the national anthem in your living room?
Yeah, I'm with it.
Okay, I appreciate it. At least do something. All right, we're going on to the next comment. When the next album finna drop? A collab show. We got bars.
So look, Diallo is actually on a new album, all over the new album. He sent me like snippets years ago. He's kind of like the voice throughout the album. So yeah, like Diallo's on there. And I don't know how to say what your name is. Yama. I'm sorry if that's incorrect, but if you telling me you can rap, I mean, like, send a link to Diallo. He'll send it to me. I'll check it out. And if you spitting it, yeah, we definitely got to do something. My dream has always been to kind of put dudes that can rap together and kind of facilitate that, like really build a thing that looks like I think it should look. So, yeah, I'm definitely down to swap out verses or whatever.
But we need some conscious verses. We got enough JJs who want to be a James, right? You only going to collab with James. Oh,
that was tough, wasn't it? That was tough.
Yeah, I used to put my kids to sleep.
Like, boy,
we got enough tough. JJs who want to be a James. Because I want to be a James all my life. Being 6 foot and 97 pounds, people used to call me JJ. I never thought I could be a James, but I'm a James now. I'm no longer a JJ.
Jimmy
but now we have a yeah. Oh my God, Jimmy JJ.
And then let me tell you something, man. Listen. I don't have no problem acknowledging if a man is handsome. Most men,
I do.
He just look like men, so I don't know if they're handsome or not. But like, he just look like a man. But Jimmy Walker. Boy, and then to go out here and to pick up a woman that looked like she's fell off of several trucks and been run over by several cars, like to just be out there with her.
This is weird. I've never seen the mean Skipp Coon. You are such a nice guy. I know you had it in you, or am I rubbing off on you? I ain't never seen you be one of the name call. You've been the nicest guy. Oh. I'm glad because I'm doing everything I can to get you down in hell with me. I don't want you in heaven. Like I said,
that's not even close.
Jigga, what? What? Xbox. PlayStation is for children. It's Xbox.
Y'all controllers don't even feel right. Like them weird controllers.
Lord.
Like them controllers feel like a Dreamcast controller. Like this.
I'm not even playing no more. Chill out, man. Back up. For real. Back up.
Basura.
Xbox. It's got X in it. It's got X in it. I don't play. It got X in it, man. That's all I gotta say. You know what the X mean to black people. Xbox is the best console. It's got the best online community. When you go online to play, it's adults and real gamers. You get on PlayStation and you go into the live and it's a bunch of kids using slurs and curse words. Xbox are for serious gamers. They don't even call PlayStation a gaming console. They're like, it's an entertainment center. That's some, yeah. And it's got the best games. They ain't got all them weird games. You like the Xbox because they put out all them games and them women in short skirts and, you know, them women with their cleavage all out with giant machine guns, all that weird shit. Gears of War. That's all I got to say. Gears of War.
Uncharted.
Can't get that. Oh, so you want to play a white man going around colonizing the world. You want to play a white man going around stealing the treasures from ancient cultures while I'm playing somebody who's trying to liberate a planet from a genocidal force. Okay. Like I said, come on over to Xbox, y'all. And Mace Zulu.
No, thank you.
At me, Mace Zulu, online. Keep it real. All right, where are we? Okay, here's a question. What advice would you give to a young, wealthy Black business owner?
Donate to the Lighthouse Black Girls Project, loveblackgirls.org. We are definitely fundraising. We have a school. You can hit me up. You can follow us on our social media. Love, LUVBLKGIRLS. So that's what you could do. And hire Black people and pay them a fair salary. That's about it.
Yeah, I would say as a wealthy person, I would tell you first, commit class suicide. And you commit class suicide by using your resources, your significant resources to subvert the class interests that you have elevated yourself into. So that means redistributive actions in terms of, instead of building up personal wealth, you want to build up communal wealth. So identify a population, an organization, and lay down a liberatory agenda in terms of securing control of resources, in terms of cultivating spaces that will, as we were discussing, cultivating spaces and creating conditions that reward solidarity and punish. So it's hard to get into specifics, but from a broad perspective, so I'm not here all night, you want to engage in redistributive actions in terms of how do you take your significant resources after you are sustained and your people are sustained, that surplus income, how do you put it in a way to build up social capital, to enrich your community and enrich your movement. And as he said, I don't really agree with hiring Black people. I think I support cooperative enterprises. So I would say, gain as many Black partners and give as many Black people ownership stake, give your so-called employees an ownership stake and a level of control. And that will definitely increase your rate of wealth accumulation, and it will make your business more resilient to downfalls and upsets. So redistribute the wealth to within the conscious Pan-African movement, begin to understand and take antagonistic and hostile position to other elites, and begin to engage in more cooperative economics and expand your reach in terms of bringing more Black people to an ownership stake as opposed to an employment stake. And join and support a revolutionary organization, as he was saying. And if there's no revolutionary organizing in your area, you can support from around the world. And begin to find and cultivate one in your space. Okay, Chichi Masa say, how do we impact our raising generation when charter schools have become an all-out assault, while elite adults in some ways may be expending energy in the wrong directions? Youth need to be decolonized.
Well, it's something that Diallo said earlier. Like, we can't free people. We can only recruit. We can only espouse those things that we believe and get them a safe place to land when they choose to flee. So, I'm interested. I'm interested in knowing where you are, because this is a very specific question. By listening to charters, we just got to be examples that they can see in their community, right? Like, this is one thing that I can say. I lived in a house. I grew up in a house where there were a lot of, I can look back on things and see a whole lot of questionable things that people believed in relationship to capitalism, right? But one thing that I always was taught was that fast money is bad for everybody. When I went outside and saw people hustling, as much as the things they had looked nice, it was just instilled in me that that's not the way to go about getting it. So I never did it. Be that person for somebody else. Like, just be an alternative. Be present in community and espouse those things that you believe, because you never know who will hear it and look into it. So that's all I got.
Well, I would say step one with that. Both of my sons graduated from CPS schools. Well, I can't say that. One of my sons graduated from CPS schools, and my other son is currently a student at CPS schools. So put your children where your mouth is. I support public education in the public school system and the teachers union. And I challenge those who have demonized those institutions that Black people played a significant role in constructing and sustaining and advancing the public school system within the United States. And there are many giants, academic giants who played that role. So first thing is make sure that you and your family, those you have influence over, recognize the value and the power we can exert or potentially exert, and how much power and influence we lose when schools go to charter and other forms of, also vouchers, because there are a lot of Negroes, and every Negro up here supporting charters and vouchers is advocating and working against the interests of the Black masses. So put your children in the schools, because I know a lot of Black people that support or claim they support, and I'm just speaking about Chicago because, again, I don't know where you are, that have a lot of rhetoric about the supporting the schools and the teachers union, but their children ain't never attended or set foot in a school, and then get engaged with the public school. You know, I just came back from my son's student teacher conference, and we're very much engaged with the school. We supported a mayoral candidate who was a former teacher, a former teachers union representative, and comes from that. And he has an agenda to prioritize and redirect resources back. So like you said, it is an assault. And the thing is, you have to organize and fight back against the charter school system. I've sat in the rooms with many city council, local, find other people who have not been indoctrinated, like Bill Gates and the documentaries Not Waiting on Superman. There has been a concerted assault against the public school system in order to commodify education. And this is about, we all want what's best for our children, but we can't just focus on our children as individuals, because we're developing and educating children to live in a society. So I would say contact the teachers union, your local, if you still have one, because there's some places, contact your local teachers union, find out which local representative, if you have an alderman system or city council members or mayor, existing potential mayoral candidates who support the local public school system. If you have state representatives that support this, find out who are the people in positions within the school district, and the local political system that support schools, and join that fight, because I appreciate you saying this is a fight. It is a fight. And I advocate, and I've been in this fight. I've been downtown marching around City Hall, fighting against Rahm Emanuel to defend public education. And I was down there yelling up at City Hall with the new mayor, Lori Lightfoot, the outgoing mayor. And if this Brandon Johnson doesn't uphold his commitment to public schools, then I'm gonna call him out and continue to fight. So you just got to get in, as Kwame Ture used to say, throw down the tomahawk. So it is a fight. The elites often personally profit off of schools. I think it was disgusting what LeBron James did. And what's even more disgusting with LeBron James' Promise Academy is how the black masses thought this was a win. Our children's education is not a vanity project for rich Negroes. It is a communal experience. And right now, those resources, those public schools are a public resources. They are a commonly held, publicly controlled resources. And also there's an ongoing fight here in Chicago to upend the racist taxation school funding and for more universal and more. So there are several viable policies, several groups, Green Party candidates, certain segments of the progressive Democrats, certain even independent organizations that have not fallen for the whole schools are terrible shit, and understand that the schools are not bad just for the sake of being bad. The schools are being consciously and deliberately undermined. So join the fight. It's a wonderful fight. And some of the most beautiful people you're going to find in the community are those who work for the kids and fight for the kids and sacrifice for the kids. I'm not one of those people, but I know when I do encounter those people who go all out for the babies, those are some of the most wonderful people to have in your life. So being in part of that experience is something. So please join the fight. Don't give up. It's not hopeless. And there's been a lot of progress against the charter school movement. Diallo, have I had a transcendental experience? No, I have not. And nor has anyone else. We need to elaborate on that.
I just don't think. Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I'll tell you that now. I haven't.
Right.
But
okay, good.
I also can't say what anybody else has had. So, I just think, you be going too far.
I can.
Going too far.
I have not, nor has anyone else.
You can't prove that.
I don't have to disprove it. I dismiss. Listen, I can prove it. What would be an acceptable level of evidence that no one had ever had a transcendental experience?
I cannot tell somebody what they believe.
We're not talking about beliefs. Now,
I'm saying. Like, if a person says I've had a transcendental experience, like, how would be like, no, you hadn't? Like, I don't know. I'm not with these people.
See, you just muddied the waters. You just muddied the waters.
You said nobody has. You don't know everybody. You can't see the absolutes.
Yes, I can. I just listen. You said two different things. I said you can't control what people believe. If the question was asked, do you that people believe they had a transcendental experience? I'd say absolutely. People believe that. But I can also say that belief has no basis in reality, that belief has no evidence to validate it. So there are a lot of things that I believe that really, like, I believe the Xbox is better than the PlayStation. That is a belief. But there is really no way for me to fully prove that belief, because even if we went down to the specs, like you said, the controller and how the controller feels, there's a lot of subjectivity in that. But one thing we do not dispute is that Xboxes exist and that PlayStations exist. There is a mountain of evidence to the existence. So we can have beliefs about something that is real. So we can now. I have beliefs about the Xbox, but I know the Xbox exists.
You don't know everybody. You don't know everybody.
Acting like this is reality and facts are not personal. I don't have to know you to know that the physics apply to you.
Nobody has had one. You just said nobody has had one.
No one has had one.
You don't know everything that happens on the world.
You say this: no one has eaten unicorn meat.
I don't know. I ain't never seen a unicorn.
Do know. Exactly.
What that mean? That I ain't just
if someone comes to you, if someone comes to you and says, I had a unicorn steak last night, what's the first thing you would ask them?
I would ask them nothing.
Right, because you think they're batshit crazy. Exactly. And that's what I do when I see people talk nonsense about transcendentalism. The reason why, but if I say to you,
listen, no. So why do you feel the need to discredit what somebody thinks, what somebody says they had? You don't know.
The reason I feel a need to discredit what someone's thinking is because this type of thinking about spiritual or supernatural experiences has damaged individuals, societies, and communities, because delusional thoughts, believing artificial and mythological things to be true, is the root cause of most of the atrocities that humans impose on each other. So it is my desire to make sure things that humans believe are rooted in evidence, things that can be demonstrated and replicated in order to have a more functional, sane, and humane systems. People that believe absurdities are prone to commit atrocities. And I don't know of any mass atrocities in society that were promoted by or carried out by people that were rooted in logic and reason. So yes, I can say reality is real. If someone comes to me and said, I ate a rhinoceros steak, I'm more prone to engage them like, wow, where did you get that? Rhinoceroses are endangered. That's immortal. I can have a discussion back and forth about your rhinoceros steak. I can even say, I don't believe you. Take me to where you got it from and show me another one. But I won't dismiss them and walk them away because there is evidence that rhinoceroses exist. So if someone says, I had a sexual experience, I'm like, well, I know sex is real. There's evidence for sex. Humans have genitalia and we tend to bump them together quite a bit. So if you tell me you had a sexual experience and I know humans exist and I know human sexuality is a thing we have evidence of, I can say, well, I don't know. You could be lying on that girl, or you and that dude didn't do this or whatever. But if someone says I had a transcendental experience, I can immediately say, I'm sorry. You might believe that with all your heart, but you didn't. You might have had a personal delusion. You might have had a psychotic episode. You might have had an intense emotional experience. But in no time was there any supernatural, out of body, or otherworldly thing coming into you or engaging with it.
This how you begin people. Like you just talk for 20 minutes and then
I'm sorry,
okay,
that's
bro,
wrong.
To stop it for talking. Like, okay,
I'm a champion.
You can't prove it. You can't disprove it.
I don't.
You can't disprove it. So if I say it and you can't disprove it, like it don't matter. You can't disprove it. I can't prove it.
Do you understand the burden of proof?
You can't disprove it.
I didn't say that. Do you understand what the burden of proof is?
You cannot disprove it is what I'm telling you.
Who has the burden of proof in this situation? The person making the claim or the person? Oh my God.
Nobody. If I walk up to you and I'm trying to convince you that I can lead you to a transcendental experience, then I have the burden of proof.
Yes.
If I say I had one and you say no, you didn't, I don't care what you think because I know what I did.
Okay, but caring and burden of proof are not the same thing. The person making the affirmative claim has the burden of proof. And I don't care if you, yes, you do.
I don't.
No, yes, you do.
I don't.
Let me tell you
I don't
this.
care. Listen, I don't care. Listen to me. I don't care if you believe God exists or not. That's none of my concern. Your relationship with God or your absence of, like, that don't have nothing to do with me. That's your position.
But the moment you can believe that you had a transcendental experience, you can believe that God exists. But the moment you articulate that to anyone other than yourself, you have now put upon yourself the burden of proof. The moment you make a claim. Now, there's things I believe. There's things I believe, right? There's things I believe that there is no material support for. Things that I imagine, that I want to be true. But the moment I step up and articulate that to any other person, I have now taken upon myself the burden of proof if they challenge it.
If they challenge it and you choose to respond, like this, what you don't understand. I believe in God. I believe a person can have a transcendental experience. I also don't believe that I've ever had one.
Right.
That's it. So if my mama say I saw God, I'm gonna say, man, that's crazy. I ain't never seen God. And she can talk about it as much as she wants to. She can't prove it in the same way that I can't disprove it. So
then
what's
she's
the point of the conversation?
But that's dishonest. If you take a position that if you take an affirmative position that you cannot sustain or support, then you are being dishonest.
No, I'm not.
Faith is dishonesty.
Faith is not dishonesty.
Yes, it is.
Faith is faith.
No, you can't
faith is faith.
Define faith without using the word faith. There might be a God that just froze you like God was like, dude, you're not God froze in your computer because you're not making good arguments. Like, you're making me look bad, my child. Let me just free. God froze your computer.
Listen, you and any of your atheist friends, man, don't believe it. That shit don't mean nothing to me.
Right. But here's the problem with that shit. People who believe shit like transcendental and believe in God, they're not content to sit in a cave. Like, I respect, what's that guy, St. Andrew, the hermit? He believed in God and he took his little belief. I'm gonna try to keep it kosher.
Thank you.
Believed in God. And his response to his belief was go sit in a cave and meditate on God and commune with his God in a cave. I think it was St. Andrew. I know some St. Mark, one of the early venerated saints. I think it's I don't remember. The hermit saint. I'm sure there's some spooks in the audience that know which one I'm talking about. But unfortunately, if every believer did that, I would never have to be talked down on religion. But what most people who believe shit, they're not content to go sit in a cave alone and contemplate their belief.
They want to. Again, you keep making these statements.
You, dude.
How?
Are your children being raised in the church?
No.
Are your children being raised in the faith? Don't lie, the Lord is watching. I'm so happy you're going to come to hell with me. We're going to have a good time in hell.
Listen, I am going to always be honest. They say thank you.
Exactly.
They say thank you.
So
they say thank you before they eat.
Right.
They say thank you before they eat.
Right. So my point is, on a small scale, when people adopt a baseless belief that has no evidence of support, they tend to want to not only spread that belief to other people, which causes a personal delusion to become a mass delusion. They want to structure society around this. So that's why
What
women are
structure do I
losing.
have on society, bro?
You're part of a gang, homie. You got a set of believers in God from a Christian slant. That is one of the most damaging. That's one of the most harmful beliefs.
One of the weird things about being an Episcopal is even on like one of our T-shirts. It's like 10 reasons to be an Episcopal, and the number one reason is no matter what you believe, there's another Episcopal person that believes that too. I am a part of the least evangelical part of the faith there is. And I look at evangelical Christians and I often say, you can't prove none of this stuff you're saying. And that is not what faith calls us to do.
The United States, well, there are certain atheist scholars who say, like the scholar Michael Parenti, who say the liberal, good-natured, non-aggressive believers are the worst ones. They are the worst Christians because you, Christians like you, are the framework, the foundation that gives the bloodthirsty crusaders a launch point. So the fact that there are good Christians, and the only way to be a good Christian is to ignore 90% of your own doctrine. To ignore 90% of your own doctrine, because I mean, Christianity is a religion that literally allows you to kill your children for disobedience. You know, so the only way to be, because anybody that truly lived biblically, they would be in an asylum or be imprisoned. So the good Christians allow for the faith to perpetuate because everybody was like, yeah, that Christian blew up something. That Christian terrorist, Timothy McVeigh, that Christian Zionist engaging in funding genocide in Palestine. Those bad Christians, but I know a good Christian. And the good Christian allows, if it was only the bad Christians around, Christianity would have burnt out centuries ago. But for you good, kind, wholesome Christians are the ones.
Question, bro?
Yes.
Bro, can we just go? Like, this is a waste of time.
Diallo, speak on Monique selling out again by doing the special.
This is that one right here. This is that one right here.
Listen, let me tell you, I got one thing to say. For the black people that followed her Netflix boycott, I'm glad she played y'all. If you looked up and tried to join anything Monique was advocating as in solidarity with Monique, you deserve to get paid. And that's all I got to say.
I was so confused because much like everything else, if you listen to it in a vacuum, you find yourself nodding in agreement. And then when you start asking questions, it started looking real funny in the light. This girl was goddamn Joanne Chesimard. They wanted shout out to my brother Fleetwood DeVille. She was Joanne Chesimard. To get her way, and like every black person had to stand in solidarity, and I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Shout out to Ali Sadiq, who produces and releases his own material without going through those major channels so that he can keep ownership. I just don't understand it. And again, it goes back to our position of black folk just loving and really believing in everything that they are, with proximity to whiteness meaning better. I just don't understand it. There's no way I could be a major artist like Monique and not be producing my own content. That's just insane to me. And it shows how little you have because you don't put your money up. Put your money up. If this is what you believe in, why you need to work for somebody else? Like you work for somebody else to get to the point that you could frontline it, and you did all that talking like that's what you was gonna do. Until them folks told you was pretty, and you was like, okay, sign me up.
Yeah, ain't much to say. All I'm saying is, I was a bit offended that she thought that she should be in a position to rally the community. Because my position is, if we can't be up with you, we shouldn't be down with you.
Talk to them.
If you can't speak to the people's struggle and speak to the issues while you on top, while you getting Grammys and all of that, you can't get up on the Grammy stage and talk about the atrocities in the Sudan or the Congo, and you can't call out political prisoners when you're receiving your Oscars. Please don't go pro-Black when the system recycles your ass and kicks you to the curb. So if we can't be up with you, we shouldn't be down with you. Good evening, gentlemen. Would you call the bourgeois revolutions in America and France bottom-up revolutions?
My brother Matt put me on this movie called A Fistful of Dynamite. And in the Fistful of Dynamite, what the dude says is revolutions is when people read books, trick people that can't read in a dime for them.
That's not
and
that.
Huh?
I don't agree with that.
That's how it look. Like we the cannon fodder. You know, like it's Animal Farm. So yeah, it's Animal Farm. So what I call them bottom up revolutions. Nah, it may be like middle management striking back, but no, I don't think so.
That is not revolution. What we tend to misconstrue is often we don't really understand because it's like when revolutions get subverted, we don't understand what part of the revolution is the revolution and what part is the counterattack or the subversion of the revolution. So yes, the people from the bottom up overthrew the monarch. But then the capitalist class, the neo-capitalist class came in and corrupted and captured the revolution. Same thing. The Mensheviks ousted the Tsar. The Mensheviks, but it was the Bolsheviks reactionary that came and displaced them. So a lot of times we look at the reactionaries who take credit for the revolution, just like the Black people in the United States. It was the sharecroppers. It was not the Dr. Martin Luther Kings. It was not the elites. I mean, I think Malcolm X probably broke this down best, how the Black Revolution got co-opted by the Negro bourgeoisie. And his message to the Black, it was the deacons of defense. It was sharecroppers and house workers, domestic servants.
Domestics.
Right. It wasn't, how the half dozen Black women, the single baby teenage mothers who sat on the front of the bus and got arrested. And the NAACP said we need a poster child for the boycott. So they got this demure, educated and proper Black negress, Rosa Parks, who came and stole the spotlight. So revolutions are not delegitimized because some sellouts come and snatch, just like in the African decolonization struggle, when the people rose up to decolonize Africa and put Mobutu in power, put Lumumba in power, and then Lumumba gets betrayed by Mobutu, but Mobutu walks around talking when the Mau Mau rebellion came, and then Jomo Kenyatta came and sold out. So no, there have been no top-down bourgeois revolutions, but there have been revolutions that were captured, corrupted, or subverted by bourgeois. And that's why I always say your revolution has to have a class consciousness. And you can't claim victory too soon. Del Jones always says revolution is a process, it's not an event. And that's what Che Guevara was trying to tell Fidel Castro. While Fidel Castro carried out a successful revolution, and then he was under siege and had to create siege socialism under ongoing blockade attacks and from jackals and assassination attempts, because Che Guevara told him a national revolution ain't shit to a global system of oppression. He said, we got to go to the Congo. We got to go to Bolivia. Fidel didn't listen. Fidel was like, I'm just going to liberate Cuba. So, no, I do give respect to the wobblies, to the anarchists, to the white communists. They did make revolution, but they weren't able to sustain revolution. But instead of just making the mistake of thinking that there was a bourgeois revolution, we need to understand how bottom-up revolutions get co-opted and how the narrative written about these revolutions get changed. So the people who took over the USSR were not the same people who liberated the USSR. Same thing happened in Ireland. For years, the Irish, the IRA, fought, and the IRA were socialists. They were anti-capitalist. And after the IRA won concessions and fought the British for centuries, the Irish capitalists came over and now liberated Ireland. It's just a replica of is a conservative replica of the people they just kicked out. Because the people, and that's another thing, when black people, working class black people, fought America during the civil rights movement and won concessions from the US, they were like, now we got to give out some positions and titles, but we're not going to give positions and titles to the freedom fighters. We're going to find some docile Negroes to give them all the rewards that the militant Negroes fought for. We're going to kill Fred Hampton, and we're going to give a Supreme Court seat to Thurgood Marshall, who denounced the Black Panthers. Even though he's sitting in a seat that was won by black militants, he was a black conservative. So all that to say is, no, every revolution, true revolution, is bottom up and people power. I'm sorry for being long-winded. I'm gonna get control of mine. I'm gonna pray on it.
You should, man. You should. But you like the star, so you the main character.
Man, this is
yeah.
We co-deacons, no more pastors. New Orleans basically is the first.
I couldn't figure out where you were, but yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Yeah, I'll be out there all the time. That was like I almost moved to New Orleans at one time.
Well, you know that the motherfucker that did that, the motherfucker that made New Orleans an all charter system, just tried to run for mayor of Chicago. Scumbag, Paul Vallis. And a shit out, not a shout out, but a shit out to every Negro, starting with Willie Wilson and Jamal Green. A shit out to every Negro that supported him.
Talk to him.
Oh no. The answer to this is no. My brother James, this is my road dog, Chicago, another big city fella. Do y'all ever listen to Reactionary Black Radio? Yes. Okay. Do you? No, I don't. Do you?
No.
I'm lying. I do. I do listen to WVON sometimes, but I it's hard. But I kind of listen for just to find out the madness. But all right, two more questions and I'll let you go. Go tend the flock or till whatever y'all doing down in Mississippi. Isn't it? Ain't it about time to sow crops?
Yeah. Well, last week, 2 weeks ago, Good Friday, you're supposed to have them in the ground.
Y'all better get on it, because us city folks need y'all rural folks to feed us so we can do all the brain work. That's so disrespectful.
I held it up for you. Like he just do this. Like he's just playing radio.
I'm not. I'm not being disrespectful. Disrespectful is allowing people to dwell in their delusions. I respect you enough to speak facts. I don't see that as disrespectful. Okay, one more question. Let's see. I'm sorry to skip y'all. We'll try to give it more time. We'll give at least half the show to Q&As.
Yeah, I think that's a better thing too. And then like maybe even like engaging folks to let them kind of be a part of it, because you just be ranting.
Yeah,
Excuse
I
me.
suffer so much. All right, let me see. One more question. It's a lot here. Shout out to everybody that supported. Shout out to everybody. Okay, let's just stick with this same person because they seem offended. So I'm gonna give them the last comment. Diallo, will you bring on an actual spiritual guru meditation to debate you? You want to do that on one of the Rational Radical shows?
Yeah, I mean, y'all can debate. I'm not gonna pay much attention to it. I know what I believe, and I'm not like. This is what I would say to you, YouTube academia, and I think you mean well. These people are convinced that they right. It ain't nothing that you can say to them. I would not waste my time, but if that's something that you interested in doing, yeah, I think y'all should do it. But let me just tell you, I'm not gonna be anywhere near that show. I come on to say what's up and good morning, good evening, all that, and then I'm gonna go on and get out and do something productive with my day. I'm not gonna listen to people argue. It makes no sense to me. I got too much other stuff I could be doing.
I do think debate is valid. I will debate a practitioner, but like I said, I'm not. It's not my intention to be disrespectful, but I see it as love to speak to someone like an adult and to be honest with someone about things that, even though it might cause them to be
the way you do it is not anywhere near. Yeah, it's not anywhere near being an adult. Like you're just being mean and disrespectful.
I think it's highly respectful because respect means to look. I mean, if I'm not being dishonest, you know, and the truth is the truth. The facts is the facts. It's not personal to anybody. But anyway, you gonna close us out with the prayer again?
Yeah. What's up? Yeah.
Close.
I want you. Thank you. Thank you for friendship. Thank you for family. Thank you for joy. Thank you for peace. Walk with us, guide us, and keep us always. Amen.
Appreciate you, brother. And
Appreciate
the next rational radical show will be is this
May 3rd?
May 3rd.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. May 3rd. Next rational radical show every other Wednesday. I appreciate you, brother.
Next Wednesday is the 26th, right? Yeah, it's 26th.
Right.
Yeah.
So the first and third Wednesday of every month, you can find the Rational Radical Show. Thank you for everyone supporting the Rational Radicals, and thank you to everyone supporting Black Power Media. And everyone, be safe and be rational. Stay radical, but be rational. Yes, absolutely.
Radical.
All right, brother. Until next time. All right. Peace.
All right, bro.